Welcome back to another episode of the Just Do You podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how I lost like 3.5 stone, but also what that's kind of like done for my confidence and how it's affected other areas of my life. Because although, yes, I look better on the outside, it is so much more than that. And that's why I'm actually really passionate about sharing my journey from 3.5 stone bigger to now, but what that has done for my confidence, for my business, for my finances, for my relationship, it has affected all areas of my life, which I just think is super interesting. So I'm going to share like where I was, where I am now, and how I got here, but also I want to just share other parts of my life and how it's impacted those parts and why. For anyone that feels like maybe you're struggling or you're stuck or you're not sure why you can't get to the next level, maybe this is you as well, because this is what I realized was really holding me back actually, was not taking care of myself and not being healthy and basically focusing on my health and my well-being. Where I was, let's say about 4 years ago, I was pregnant with my son, and I did actually put on quite a lot of weight while I was pregnant with my son. I just absolutely ballooned all over. I think it helped that it was locked down, so I didn't have to see anybody. We weren't really doing anything, and it kind of just crept on. And I had this whole like, well, I'm pregnant, so it's fine, whatever. I'll just lose it afterwards. And then what happened is I had my son and I was breastfeeding and I was like, oh, the weight will fall off because I'm breastfeeding and you hear all these things. And then the weight didn't fall off. And then I stopped breastfeeding. And then you're tired because you have a baby now that is up all night. So I was just eating like crazy, wasn't really moving because he was constantly on me and needed me. So I wasn't really doing many steps. And I'd actually prepaid for a PT for after I'd given birth. And so I started those PT sessions pretty quick after having Oscar. And maybe in hindsight, it was a little bit too quick. But I also realized that I had all these kind of like beliefs around weight and your body and what it means when you have a baby. And all these different things were definitely playing a part. And I had this story in my head of, oh, it's hard to lose weight when you have a baby. Your body isn't the same after you have a baby. Only certain people can snap back when they have a baby. And people in my family have the quote unquote fat gene within our family. So I had all these kind of like stories going on in my head that I think were definitely, what's the word? They were definitely contributing to this narrative that I had that it's hard for me to lose weight. It's hard for you to lose weight after you've had a baby. So I was almost making these excuses in my mind as to why I hadn't yet bounced back or why I still wasn't confident or feeling good in my body yet. So then, the first year, okay, it's fine. You've had a newborn, whatever. But what was happening was I wasn't even staying the same. I was now starting to gain weight. And it's because I just wasn't taking care of myself. And I was using all these excuses of, oh, well, when I have more money, then I'll get a PT. When I'm rich and I've sorted my business and my finances, then I'll do this. And I definitely am guilty of doing this with a lot of things. I was doing the same thing in my relationship of like, oh, things will be better when we have more money. Things will be better when Oscar starts sleeping through. We'll do more date nights when this, when that. And really now looking back, this is all self-sabotage, right? And this is all excuses. But also there's this like strange notion that we have to like compartmentalize different parts of our life and like put them in like different folders and be like, right, I'm going to work on finances first, then I'm going to work on my relationship. When actually having done this work now and having got into the best shape of my life, I was like, all right, it's everything. Everything is done together because there isn't one part of your life that is just focused on health while the other part of you is booming at business. It's all of it because all of it requires you to be consistent. All of it requires you to get out of your comfort zone. All of it requires you to show up and make difficult decisions. It's not just that you're just consistent in your diet, but then you're inconsistent with your relationship or you're inconsistent at work. Or, yes, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone with my business and really push myself, but I'm not going to push myself when it comes to my health and working out or anything like that. So I suddenly realized that how you do one thing is how you do all things. And that was a big like aha moment for me. And what kind of happened is there were some photos, I think, of me on holiday. If you're watching the YouTube, I'll post them so you can see. And I had this like moment of what the fuck? Like, this is got too far now. Like I don't look like myself. I don't look happy. I don't look healthy. And it wasn't just my weight. There were so many other things going on. Like my relationship was suffering, my business was suffering, my finances were suffering. And I just kind of felt like I was drowning and I didn't know what to do or how to get out of it. So it was in that moment when I saw those photos and I was like, something has to change, like now, because I can't keep going down this path of overeating, eating to numb myself, eating because I'm feeling sad, which then, you're not eating well. As in, I was eating junk food, which means that I wasn't sleeping well, which means that I was waking up grumpy. So then I wasn't in my best headspace to work on my business or for my relationship. I wasn't feeling confident in my body, so I wasn't showing up in as my best in my relationship. I wasn't comfortable doing videos like this for my social media to grow my business. And so everything kind of just trickled into each other. It's like this vicious circle. And I was like, I need to just tackle it all. And I know it feels overwhelming, but I was like, I need to do something. And it was that moment of hitting rock bottom. And that was my rock bottom. And your rock bottom might look different. So my rock bottom was obviously that point looking like that, being 82 kilograms or whatever I was, being, X amount with finances, my relationship not being in a certain place. Like all of those points for me were rock bottom. And I was like, fuck this, I'm done. And all of it's changing. All of it's changing now. I've had enough. And this was probably about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, I forget. But I hit this point of breaking and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And if you scroll back on my TikTok, there's actually some videos where I'm like, right, I'm doing a life reset. I took videos of my body and like took videos of my hair. I was like, everything feels disgusting at the minute. I got clear on my business, on my finances, and what I wanted to create. And I started doing all the inner work that I have learned over the past 10 years. I know this stuff. I know you should have your vision board. I know you should be watching what you're talking about. I know you should be visualizing and tapping every day and grounding myself and visualizing. I know this stuff and I wasn't doing any of it. So yes, this is about my body, but it's about the whole life reset because everything changed, not just what you see on the outside. I hit my personal rock bottom, and that might look different for you. But I was like, this is it. This is the point where everything changes. And so I did my first 8-week PT body blitz with my PT, which I will tag him in the comments, like in the show notes, so you can see who it is. But at that time, I didn't really have the funds for it. And I was like, I want a PT because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I asked my mum to pay for it for Christmas. And I think this is the point that you have to get to. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to change. And that for me was reaching out to my mum and saying, will you pay for it as my Christmas present? Now, not everybody's willing to do that. And I think that's the difference. That's the difference, right? What are you willing to do to see a change in your body or in your life or in your finances or in your business? You have to be willing to do something scary and out of your comfort zone. So I was done making the excuse of finances. I was done making the excuse of time. I was like, I'm doing this and I can do it for 8 weeks. I can do something for 8 weeks. So that was kind of like the tipping point when it comes to my weight loss, because that's where I started to see the biggest shift in my weight loss. And I think it's just being around other people on the same journey as you, other people who are now no longer making excuses. Me and my husband did it together. So it was both of us in the household, like watching what we were eating, being more mindful. And then I started implementing other things, shifting my mindset, doing the tapping, looking at my habits around money, around business, and around food. And what is my belief system? What is my identity? How do I see myself? And starting to really shift all of that. And I'll give you some tools at the end as to what really helped me do that. But I also found myself before I took the leap and went with my PT, and actually probably moments in between, and I still have moments actually where I need to catch myself, where I'm looking at other people and I'm comparing. But the worst part is I'm judging. And I'm saying, well, it's all right for her because she has a lot of money. So she's able to go and have all these fancy treatments done on her body. Or it's all right for her. She hasn't had kids. So she doesn't have stretch marks. Or she has better genes. And so, of course, she snaps back. Or she's got way more time because her partner has to her kid more. And I was making, again, all these excuses as to why other people had the body that I wanted. But it's so easy for us to do this with our life, right? And to look at somebody else and say it was all right for her because she got a big following. She's pretty and she's thin, so that's why she's an influencer. Or her husband definitely paid for that car, that's why she has that. And it's catching yourself in these moments of nobody is more special or has better circumstances or whatever. And that's irrelevant because you can find evidence of somebody else who has had a harder life than you and yet still has the thing that you want. So I then started to follow and surround myself with other people who had the thing that I wanted, who maybe had a similar background or a similar journey. So people like Chessie King, Roxy Nafusi, Chriselle from Setting Sunsets, like have a look at their background and their stories and who they are today. Despite the challenges they've been through, they've still been able to do it. So now I had new evidence and new people around me because they say, right, the 5 people you surround yourself with the most are like the most important people. And sometimes it's not that easy to get in rooms with people who are better than you, but you can decide who are you following, who are you listening to, what podcasts are you listening to, what books are you reading. You can decide who the people are around you who are influencing you. And then you have to decide that you deserve better and you are worthy for better. And you get to have the body of your dreams, the life of your dreams, be financially free, have the relationship of your dreams. Like you get to have those things that you want and you deserve those things. And that was one of the big shifts with me and food. And this is where like doing some EFT tapping, I will put some resources in here for you, or doing some visualization or grounding yourself or meditating on knowing that you get to fuel your body with healthy foods. Like, yes, I do eat cookies and ice cream now and then, but 95% of the food that I'm consuming is fresh, it is organic, it is good for me, it is vegetables and fruit because my body deserves the best. If I want to function at the best possible, what's the word? Capacity, whatever the word is, then I need to fuel myself with good foods. I can feel the difference when I wake up in the morning and I've eaten rubbish the night before or a takeaway versus if I've had a good meal. So then I show up better in my business. I show up better on social media because I'm fueling myself with better food, but because my body deserves it. I deserve to live my best life. I deserve to look my best, to feel my best, to have the best relationship, to have the best finances, to have the most amazing flourishing business. I deserve those things, but that comes back down to grounding yourself and being worthy. And if you don't feel like you're worthy, you're never going to manifest or bring in these things that you want. So doing the EFT tapping, surrounding yourself with better people, these are the things that are going to change everything for you, not just your body. So to round up, I think it's really important to know that you can't just pick one area of your life to fix. And I know it might feel overwhelming at first, but I would map out in each of the different sections, like what is your dream body slash health, your dream career slash business, your dream finances, your dream relationship, and like slash friendships. What does that look like? What does it feel like when you close your eyes and you visualize that highest self, that highest version of you? How does she talk, walk, dress? What does her business look like? What does she show up doing daily? Like, what is your dream day? Because what I found is when I was closing my eyes and visualizing my dream business, I looked very different. I was dressing differently. I was healthy. My skin was glowing. My hair was amazing. And I was slimmer because that is who I see myself as. Because that is the healthiest version of me, the version of me that is fueling herself with healthy foods and vegetables and good food versus the version of me that is just binging on packets of crisps and chocolate and sweets. They're two very different people, right? And so that was like a moment for me of like, okay, if that's what I look like, then I've got to tackle the weight thing now. And I have to tackle the self-worth thing now. And actually, she's in a relationship that is amazing and is happy and healthy and the best it's ever been. So I need to tackle that part of my relationship now. I can't just leave all these things because they're only going to get worse. And actually, by tackling those things first, it's helped my business to grow. It's helped my confidence grow. I have more energy to work on my business and to build this YouTube and my podcast and things. So map out your whole life and where you want it to look and what you want it to look like and what you want it to feel like. Then start doing these tools that I'm sharing. Like there'll be way more on the podcast on the YouTube where I'm going to show you these things like tapping, meditation, visualization. There's books you can read. I'm going to share those as well. And decide that you're going to start to change all of it. And it doesn't have to feel overwhelming because you can just take baby steps, right? You could just decide I'm going to get to bed earlier. I'm going to switch my phone off. I'm going to watch what I'm consuming on social media. I'm going to start to listen to a podcast, baby steps. And those things will start to feel comfortable. And what will happen is you have this thermostat, which is almost like your rock bottom, right? Your thermostat is your rock bottom of where you feel comfortable getting to. The problem is that our thermostat and our rock bottom is down here. So now what I've found now is I've been able to raise my thermostat at this level of where I'm willing to be. and I'm not willing to like drop any further below that. So for me, my original thermostat, if we think about weight, was 82 kilograms, was obviously my limit. For you, it might be more, it might be less. But now I'm at 60 something. So the other day I was like creeping up to 61 and I was like, I could feel myself. I was binging at night. I was raiding the cupboards at midnight. I was like hiding wrappers. And I was like, no, Emma, you're slipping. But now I can catch myself. This is the beauty of mindset. I could catch myself and I was like, no, your thermostat is 60. And I saw it creeping up. And these bad habits were starting to sneak back in. And I caught myself and I grounded myself. I did my tapping, did my deep breathing. You deserve better. Okay. My thermostat is 60. So then I was able to bring it back down. And you can do this with money, right? Maybe you're spending frivolously. Maybe you're spending constantly because you're self-sabotaging and you're about to fall back into your overdraft. Ground yourself, do some tapping. No, my new baseline, my new thermostat is that I always have £500 in my account as my float. That is my new thermostat. That is my new rock bottom. There's a reason why millionaires can lose it all and then be back up to being millionaires because their rock bottom, their thermostat is set to be, I'm a millionaire. I don't fall below that. So now we're doing the same thing with our relationships, with our money, with our business. Nothing falls below that thermostat. And this is what the mindset work will do. This is what the tapping will do. And I'll go into more detail with this thing, with these videos. But if you have questions, if you're feeling stuck, if you want guidance, let me know in the comments, give me some feedback, and I will help you as much as I can. So I hope this helps. You've got this, and I'm super excited to see all of your before and afters, to see how you've grown and changed, how your business, money, finances, life, relationship has transformed off the back of this. Love you all. Thank you.